What's up YouTube? Today I want to show you why you need to stop using groups in Figma if you want to become better in Figma. There's very specific places that we would use groups, but in general they're not very useful. They're useful mostly for organization and annotation stuff. And so I want to show you an example here. These intro components, that they're not components yet here, but these intro components here, they're all groups. And if you look in here, like, groups cannot hold a background fill, so the person who designed this had to add a rectangle to get around that. And there's a much cleaner way to keep this this layers list here much cleaner, which is removing that background. Actually, before I do that, I need that size, so I will select the component first and convert the group into a layer on the top right here. To a frame, sorry. So now we changed it into a frame. We can delete that rectangle 3 that was only working for as a background, and also please name your layers. But now we can actually just add the fill to the rectangle itself, and then the border radius here on the was I think 8. Let me check on this one. Yeah, 8. So now we have one less layer here, and things are looking cleaner already. We have another group in here that's unnecessary, just wrapping the title. I'm not sure why this person did this, but I'm just going to remove this group by hitting Command-Shift-G. So now we got a much cleaner situation here. So we got the frame holding the caret icon, the label, and then the other icon, which is the info icon. I notice here that it's like 15 pixels from the side, and I like to use multiples of 8. So here we got 16 and 16. That's fine. So clearly we just need to make that 16 as well. But also before I would also turn this into an auto layout. But first I want to show you, like, now that we turned this into a frame. So before, when it was a group, like you can see this one, if we resize this, it starts skewing everything and becoming crazy. Like, for example, the background didn't resize with the group. These things squeeze and it's all weird. So with the frame, now that I resize, things don't really change, except if I had this thing set to scale, then this would be changing like the group. But this just gives you more control. So instead of adding scale, I just want to keep this one place pinned to the right, and also vertically I want to keep it in the center. So now if I resize it, it's always on the same spot. Same thing with these ones. I want to keep this pinned to the left, but not the top. I want to keep it centered vertically, because right now if it's pinned to the top, when I resize this, it's going to stay at the top. But if I change this to center it vertically, same thing with this one. When I resize, they're going to stay in the center of that frame. And then lastly, I'm going to make an auto layout out of this by hitting Shift A. And this became a little bit like a center, just because auto layout is trying to do like a nice job here to like divide everything. And but it's not a problem. I just moved this to centered so we can keep that, centered, all the items in the center. But in some cases you might want to keep them in the top. And when you change something to auto layout, it automatically goes to top left. This is just like how it works. And instead of these 15 here, I'm gonna just make 16 all around. So now we got 16 pixels all around. Well, it says 18 here. It's probably taking the size from this, yeah, because this one is higher than this one. So got 16 on top and bottom, and then 16 from the left, 16 from the right. Now the only thing that's missing, we need to make this basically be aligned with how it was before. And that was 16 pixels in distance between the icon and the text. So we're gonna change this space between here, space between items, to 16. And you're gonna notice that the whole thing is gonna shrink, because right now the auto layout is to hug content. The other way we could have done this, if I go back, is first set the auto layout to fixed width, and then now hit it to 16. So all the things inside will kind of group together, or yeah, kind of like stay together with the 16 pixel between items that we just set here. And then all we need to do is get this text and say that we want to fill the container to the available space. So that's it. Now we have this thing, and in this case, like the auto layout width is fixed anyway, because it's going to be inside a platform, and this has no, it shouldn't get bigger than this. So in other words, like we want this text to break lines when it gets to the end, which it happens as expected here. So yeah, this is basically why. And the only situation that I use the groups is like when I am adding annotations. Let's say if I want to add some arrows here. By the way, if you press Shift L, if you press just L, you get a line. If you press Shift L, you get the arrow. Quick tip there. So yeah, if I have, let's say I had a bunch of lines, a bunch of arrows and stuff and annotations around. At one point, I want to like kind of just combine all of these so I have like one main control of them. So in this case, if I made them into a frame, I would always have this like little label there, and then I want to keep this like tidy. I don't want to show that, and that's when I would use the group, because the group doesn't show that. And also it won't show if you use a frame, it might pick up when you're prototyping, but a group won't pick up as a prototype, like a slide in your prototype or whatever. And then I would just like basically lock it so I can kind of like hide and show the annotations as I need it. And the other time I would use groups is just like when I want to quickly just kind of like say group something here and move it somewhere and then ungroup it right away. Kind of like literally just for like organization stuff, like just to kind of make it easier to group things, but then like kind of like undo the grouping unless it's like the annotations I was talking about. But yeah, hopefully this was helpful. If anything here you would like to know more, leave a comment below and I will do my best to respond as quickly as I can. Thank you.